Imagine you're in the year 1348. The Black Death has just arrived in your village. There are no hospitals, no antibiotics, no doctors, at least not in any sense we'd recognize today. And yet, some people survived. Not just survived, thrived, living into their 70s, 80s, sometimes beyond, in a world that should have killed them a dozen times over. Their secret wasn't prayer. It wasn't luck. It was knowledge. Oncio, precisi, accumulated over centuries, written in manuscripts that most people have never read, using ingredients that are still sitting in your kitchen right now. This channel exists for one reason: to bring that knowledge back. Because modern science has spent the last decade quietly confirming what medieval healers somehow already knew. And the gap between what they understood and what we've forgotten is one of the most remarkable stories in human history. My name is Medieval Echoes, and this is Ancient Remedies. First, we need to destroy a myth. When most people think of medieval medicine, they picture bloodletting, leeches, and superstition. They picture the village idiot dressed in robes making things worse. And yes, some of that existed. But the full picture is completely different. And new research published in 2025 has essentially rewritten what we thought we knew. Analysis of thousands of early medieval manuscripts, many never studied before, revealed a medical tradition that was systematic, observational, and remarkably sophisticated. These healers weren't guessing. They were experimenting, recording what worked and what didn't, building a body of knowledge across generations. Medieval medicine operated on several pillars. First, the Physic Garden, a dedicated medicinal herb plot maintained by monasteries and healers across Europe. Second, the apothecary, a trained specialist who knew hundreds of plant compounds and their applications. Third, the leech book, essentially a clinical handbook, recording treatments, dosage, and outcomes. The word leech originally meant healer, not the worm, the healer. And the best of them were observational scientists working centuries before the scientific method had a name. What they built without microscopes, without chemistry, without germ theory is what we're here to excavate. Now let's get specific. 5 remedies that medieval healers used consistently that modern science has since validated, often to the surprise of researchers who expected to find nothing. Remedy 1. Willow bark for pain and fever. Medieval healers prescribed willow bark tea for fevers and bodily pain as far back as the 9th century. The active compound salicin is what the body converts into salicylic acid, which is the direct precursor to aspirin. When Bayer synthesized aspirin in 1899, they were essentially industrializing a remedy that European healers had been using for 1,000 years. Remedy 2. Garlic for infection. Medieval surgeons packed wounds with garlic paste. They had no idea why it worked. They only knew that wounds treated with garlic festered less and healed faster. We now know garlic releases allicin when crushed, a compound with genuine broad-spectrum antimicrobial activity. A 2015 study found garlic extract effective against over 80% of clinical antibiotic-resistant strains tested. Remedy 3. Honey for wound healing. Every medieval hospital used honey on wounds. It seemed primitive. It was actually brilliant. Honey creates a low pH, low water environment, hostile to bacterial growth, and releases small amounts of hydrogen peroxide continuously. Medical-grade Manuka honey is now used in clinical wound care in hospitals across Europe and the United States for exactly these reasons. Remedy 4. Elderberry for respiratory illness. When plague and respiratory illness swept through medieval Europe, elderberry syrup was one of the first lines of defense. Modern randomized controlled trials have found elderberry extract reduces duration of influenza symptoms by an average of 4 days and reduces severity significantly. 4 days. From a berry they found growing wild along monastery walls. Remedy 5. Valerian root for sleep and anxiety. Medieval monks brewed valerian root as a sleep remedy and a treatment for what they called nervous complaints. Modern clinical trials have confirmed valerian's mild sedative and anxiolytic properties, linked to its effect on GABA receptors, the same system targeted by many modern anxiety medications. They had no idea how it worked. They just knew it did. 5 remedies, all validated, all used for hundreds of years before modern medicine was born. The question isn't whether medieval healers were onto something. They clearly were. The question is, what else did they know that we haven't looked at yet? So why did we abandon this knowledge? The answer isn't simple, but it starts with the 19th century. When modern pharmaceutical chemistry emerged, it offered something herbal medicine couldn't: precision. A pill with an exact measured dose. A compound with a known mechanism. Reproducibly. Scalable. Patentable. Plant medicine couldn't be patented. You can't own willow bark. You can't trademark elderberry. And without the profit incentive, there was no funding for the research that would have validated these remedies decades earlier. So they were dismissed, labeled as folklore. The healers who used them, predominantly women, predominantly working class, were pushed out of formal medical practice. The knowledge was archived, but not studied. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We didn't abandon medieval medicine because it didn't work. We abandoned it because it wasn't profitable. And now, with antibiotic resistance rising, with chronic disease rates climbing despite the best pharmaceutical treatments we've ever had, researchers are going back. Back to the manuscripts. Back to the monastery gardens. Back to the leech books. A study published in 2025 found that medieval medical manuscripts contained nearly double the number of plant-based remedies previously known, and that many showed strong potential for modern pharmaceutical development. We are, essentially, mining the past for the future, which means that every remedy we're going to explore on this channel isn't just history. It's active research. It's the frontier. Every video on this channel follows the same structure: a remedy, its history, the modern science, and how to actually use it today. Next week, the medieval remedy for chronic inflammation that researchers are now calling one of the most promising natural anti-inflammatories ever studied. It grew wild across Europe. It was used in every monastery from Ireland to Constantinople. And most people reading this have never heard of it. If that's the kind of thing you want to know, subscribe. It's free. And you won't get this anywhere else. If you have a specific condition or symptom you want us to research through the medieval lens, leave it in the comments. I read every single one, and many of our future videos come directly from those requests. The knowledge was never lost. It was just waiting. I'll see you next week.